A senior Russian diplomat stormed out of the UN Security Council session after the European Council president accused the Kremlin of triggering a global food crisis by blocking Ukraine's grain exports. Moscow's UN ambassador Vasily Nebenzia abruptly rose from the chamber on Monday as President Charles Michel told the 15-member panel that Russia's war in Ukraine is driving up food prices and impoverishing the population. Speaking directly to Nebenzia, Michel said, "Let's face it, the Kremlin uses food stocks as a camouflage missile against developing countries. And Russia alone is responsible for this food crisis," he argued. Russia alone, despite the Kremlin's campaign of lies and disinformation. Michel told diplomats that during his tour of the region a few weeks ago, he saw millions of tons of grain stuck in containers and ships at the Ukrainian port of Odessa. He claimed the problem stemmed from Russian warships in the Black Sea and Moscow's attacks on transport infrastructure and grain stores. Michel also accused Russian forces of stealing grain from occupied territories while shifting the blame others and criticized the Kremlin's tactics as cowardly and propaganda, pure and simple. As he walked out, Michel said to Nebenzia, "You can leave the room, maybe it's easier not to listen to the truth." Russia's deputy ambassador to the UN, Dmitry Polyansky, later tweeted on Telegram's Russian channel that Michel's comments were so rude that the Russian ambassador walked out of the Security Council chambers. Michel had also accused Russian troops of war crimes and crimes against humanity, citing reports of sexual violence in particular, the focus of Monday's Security Council meeting, and calling them a tactic of torture, terror and repression. In his own statement earlier in the meeting, Nebenzia had categorically denied all allegations of sexual violence by Russian soldiers and condemned what he called lies. Russia's February 24 invasion of Ukraine fueled an international food crisis, with prices for grain, cooking oils, fuel and fertilizers soaring. Russia and Ukraine account for nearly a third of world wheat shipments, while Russia is also an exporter of fertilizers and Ukraine is an exporter of corn and sunflower oil. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres is trying to negotiate a package deal to resume Ukraine's food exports and Russia's food and fertilizer exports. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will visit Turkey on Wednesday to discuss unblocking grain exports from Ukraine. Guterres warned last month that global hunger is at a new high as the number of people facing severe food insecurity has risen from 135 million before the COVID-19 pandemic to 276 today in just 2 years. Million has doubled. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, speaking at a virtual roundtable with private sector groups on food security issues arising from the conflict, accused Russian forces of planting explosives on captured farmland and hoarding Ukraine's food exports. Blinken said Russian President Vladimir Putin is doing so and aggressively uses his propaganda machine to deflect or distort responsibility in the hopes that it will make the world give in to him and then the sanctions. In other words, very simply put, it is blackmail.